Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about standard form. So let's start with what is standard form. Standard form helps us having the longer numbers in small equations or kind of terms like. So we have 3000, right? And 3000 is equal to 3 times 1000, right? Because, yeah. And 1000 is also a big number, like the 3 is small enough. However, 1000 is equal to 10 cubed, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1000. So instead of writing the 3000 or writing 3 times 1000, we are able to write 3 times 10 to the power of cube. So what you should understand in this type of equation is you have a number that's 1 up to 9. It can't be over a 9. It can't be like 10. Because like you technically already have a 10. So if the number is like, I don't know, again, like 10,000, you don't need this number. You can just write the 10 to the power of 4. So you don't, like, it can't be a 10 in this type of form. And then you have the times by the 10 to the power of to the power. So the power is able to be a negative and a positive. I'll talk a bit more about the negative later on, but the fact that it can be positive is already crystal clear. Pause the video and try to answer these two questions. Okay, now let's do it together. 8,200 in standard form. So the number can't be bigger than 10. So we're going to create 8.2 times 10 to the power of, it's 1000, so to the power of 3. Now 2 million. Over here we are able to use a 2 and we times it by 10 to the power of 6. A kind of easy way to think about it is how much, like, which numbers are there after the first number, because over here you can see that there's 3, so it's cubed. Over here is 6, so there's a 6. So that's just kind of so you understand it better. Now let's talk about the negatives a bit more clear. So it's technically the same thing, you just add the zeros to the left, not the right. So usually we would go, let's say, like this. But if it's like the power of a negative, we do the opposite and put just a decimal and blah, blah, blah. So over here, we see that we should have it go once to the right. So it would be 0.1. Now, what would be 0.01 in this type of form? Well, we just figured out that 1 0 equals 1. So over here we have 2 zeros. So 10 to the power of 2. And same thing here. We see the 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Pause the video and try to answer these two questions. Okay, let's go. Over here, we can see the 45 at the end. So our number would be 44.5. And we will times that 10 to the power of minus 2, because we can see the 2 over here. Now, next question is a bit more harder. Write 52, there's no decimal here, no decimal, times 10 to the power of 4 in standard form. Seems like it is in standard form, but this number is clearly bigger than 10. So we transform this into 5.2. And then, because we made it smaller by 10, like dividing this by 10 would give us this, we have to add a 10 to here to make this equal. And when, like, you add another 10, so you know how the powers, they're like 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So this is equal to this because there's a 4. So if we add another 10, because we have to, like, we divided 10 here, so we have to make times here. It will just equal 10 to the power 5. So 10 to the power 5. It's very simple. Now over here we have another trick question. So write 156 times 10 to the power of minus 7 in standard form. Well, again, much bigger than 10. So 1.56 it is, times, okay, right now we just divided it by 100. So it means we have times this by 100. And 100 is 2 tens times by each other. So we have to add, like, because this just equals 2 tens, let's just think of it as a 2. We have to add the 2 to this, minus 7. So minus 7 plus 2 equals minus 5. So 10 to the power of minus 5. So remember, standard form is equation like this with a number smaller than 10. And the ordinary number, just so you can see the contrast, I guess. So where when it's a minus, it's a decimal. When it's a positive, it's a full number. So just remember that. Goodbye.